Welcome to Culturally Incorrect, the podcast where two friends dive into the ordinary, turning the mundane into a humorous adventure.
Join us for laughter, candid conversations, and a dose of friendship as we explore the everyday topics that make life truly basic.
We're your hosts, Ken
and Z.
We're here to turn your everyday into a fun-filled conversation.
So grab the drink of your choice, put on your headphones, and let's chat. Welcome to another episode of Culturally Incorrect. In today's episode, we discuss compromise versus concession. Do you know which you do most? But anyway, back to compromise.
Compromise.
You said, do we compromise in relationships? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't. Screw compromise in relationships. You know what compromise in relationship gets you? Gets you compromised. That's what it gets you. You out here compromised with your ass out. That's what compromise relationship gets you.
I don't think that's accurate
you
at all.
Get so many other cheeks to turn.
You got to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't keep turning them. Eventually, they both hurt.
I mean, you can. You can endure it.
You can't.
Pain is just
what? Like, how do you compromise in your relationship? Like, give me an example of how you compromise in your relationship.
No, I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you, in a relationship, what does compromise look like? And give me an example of a time you've compromised in your relationship and how that turned out.
So, I'm terrible at compromise, especially in relationships, because I always think I'm right. I think I'm right. I'm the rightest person in the world. So, compromising for me in a relationship is understanding that you are two people that are coming together to live a common life, right? You're not my life. I'm not your life, right? But we share a commonality in the middle, right? So I still do the things that I do. You still do the things that you do. And then we share that middle kind of ground together, and we share our personal experiences. So, like, I'll give you an example of compromise for me. I was living in Japan. Happy as can be, wanted to be in Japan. And when you're in Japan or when you're overseas, they do things called epcots, right? And they're in-place change-up stations, right? So you pick a station that you want to be at once you leave overseas, or you can pick the in-place change-up station. You can pick to stay there and do an extra 2 years or an extra 4 years in that place, right? So I wanted to Epcot. My wife at the time was like, hey, I don't want to be here for another 4 years. I really want to go back to the States. I miss Walmart. I miss all these other things, right? I miss my family. I miss going home. I miss all these things. So me, I want to be here, but I understand that there's, family and everything back in the States. I understand that you're unhappy, and I'm going to have a career no matter where I go. So I felt like I'm compromising because I'm like, yeah, it's fine. We're going to go back to the States then because that's what you want. I'm still going to be in my career. I'm still going to be okay. And I'm going to give up the life that I live overseas, which is a way better life because you get an extra bonus for housing and you get an extra bonus for pay, right? It's called I can't remember what it's called. It's called, it doesn't matter what it's called, but you get extra money to live overseas. We go back to the States, my paycheck gets cut in half, darn near. And now I'm back to the States. My paycheck's cut in half. Of course, we're in the States, and not even 3 months into living in the States, this woman looks at me and says, I don't really like it over here. I wish we would have stayed in Japan. Girl, when I tell you, I was so hot. You done had me minimize my money. You done had me move all the way back to the States. Now, mind you, moving back to the States was a little bit better because, you have all the things put in your name. You start doing a whole bunch of stuff stateside that you're supposed to be. You can buy your house. You can, start setting up for the rest of life, right? So it's a compromise, right? I give up a little bit of money that I would make over the next 4 years, but, I get to start establishing myself back in the States like I should, right? Mm-hmm. But so it's a little bit of compromise. Now, I was upset that what I wanted would have been better for us, but I compromised for that person a little bit. But I understand that I couldn't just hold her hostage, because if I held her hostage, then she would have regrets and she would be like, "Oh, well, you made me stay here, blah blah blah." So that was a episode of compromise. It didn't really work out for me, but I still did the compromise, and I still did put all my selfish needs aside to make sure that somebody else was happy.
Mm-hmm. So, in a compromise, usually you're able to strike a balance between your needs, my needs, your wants, my wants. In that situation, there wasn't a balance. It was just, would you call that compromise or settle? Like you just not settle, not compromise, but just you just gave her what she wanted.
No. See, the reason why I call it a compromise is because there were still things I could do and develop. Like, so I may not have made as much money moving back to the States, but I was able to buy a house. Mm-hmm. I was able to, start that process of establishing myself and establishing property and establishing a little bit more wealth than just money when I came back to the States. I was able to get an actual vehicle, because over there, the vehicles that I had were throwaway vehicles that were in Japan, right? So I was able to actually buy a car that lasted me about 14 years, right? I was able to buy a house. I was able to start all that stuff. My kids were able to go to private school and all that stuff over here. They did it in Japan as well, but it was more so a more decent school. So there was compromise because I could still do things, right? So I was still happy in my where I was, and then she got to go back to the States. The problem is that she had glorified the States to a point where it wasn't realistic, and she had forgotten what the States was like. And overseas is just a way better life experience for her, the kids, for me. So she wanted something, I gave it to her out of compromise, and then it just turned out she didn't realize that she didn't want that.
Can you speak any Japanese?
Can I? No, I know the niceties. I know hello, goodbye. I got little bushes outside, so the little birds are going. Yeah, I know the little niceties. Hello, goodbye, excuse me, all that stuff. Kiana is actually learning Japanese, which is funny. I can count to 5.
Mm-hmm. Let me hear it. Let me hear it.
Ichi, san, chi, go.
So there's 2 G's in between 1 and 5?
San, ich, chi, san, chi, go. Ich, chi. I don't remember. See, now you got me messed up.
All right. Well, yeah. I was going to ask, I don't know what the compromise could have been, right? Like living here a few months and living there a few months. But when you're stationed, it would have just been her and the kids coming back this way for a few months, and then, you staying over there. But yeah.
No, that wouldn't be a few months. That would have been 4 years. That would have went over well.
No, I mean, like, let her come stateside for a few months, get her feel of the States, then come back and live in Japan where you were. But
no, because I would have had to move all the furniture for her. Like, she wouldn't have had nothing to live with.
No, I mean, like, come back to see family and stay with family.
She did that.
For a few months at a time?
Yeah, she did that. So I think she went back once every year. She went back. But it's...
Okay. Can you think of a situation where a lack of compromise negatively impacted your day?
Me? I always compromise. I'm not good at it, but I always do it. Something that negatively impacted my day. Maybe you didn't give an example of how you compromise.
A what?
You didn't give an example of how you compromise. How does Z compromise? What's compromise to you, and what do you? Example of how you compromise.
An example of how I compromise. Yeah. I don't have one.
How am I getting put out here and you don't have an example of how you compromise in a relationship?
Oh gosh. So yeah, what?
I thought it makes sense. Like, what is this? Like, lie on trial? Like, what?
Oh gosh, no. When I think of compromise, So I guess one example would be I'm going to.
I would think. Well, I mean, it's we're talking about how we compromise in the past, right? So I think all that's open, right? Now, if there's a sore there, we don't touch that sore. But
Yeah, so I think a lot of the time, I don't know. It's going to seem like that's that's a lie, but it's really not. A lot of the time, major decisions, I would say, Cole and I are like, yeah, that makes sense, right? So there's not a lot of give in major decisions. So I guess in the minor stuff, like let's say me taking care of all the household stuff, that's a compromise for me because I don't want to do it. But I understand that he works later hours and he also is not as
particular,
not particular, but what is it called? Cheap as me, to where I will shop the sale. I will use coupons. I will find the best deals to spread money, like to make it stretch. And so the compromise is that I just do it, even though I don't really necessarily enjoy doing it all the time. Like I'm what do you call the like repetitiveness? I'm not a fan, right?
Gotcha.
So if I could do it once a month, great, but I can't. Life goes on. You have to shop, right?
Right.
And so I don't enjoy it, but the compromise is that I know that I'm going to spend half the amount of money on the same items as he would. So let me just go ahead and get it done. You know, so that's it sounds ridiculous, but those are like the only types of things that I can think of, just like the small compromises.
You just do small compromises, so there's no. I mean, okay, all right. I mean,
no, go ahead. Ask me your question.
No. I'm trying to think that. I would think. I mean, so for me in marriage, there are major compromises, right? Like every day there's major compromises when it comes down to just certain things like living, right? Certain people want to live in the country. Certain people want to live in the city. Certain people want to have a bigger house. Some people want a house with a master bedroom on the bottom floor. Some people want it on the top floor. Some people want a split floor plan where the kids are on one side, we're on the other side. Some people, want the dogs to sleep in the bed with them. Some people don't want the dogs to sleep in. There's so many levels of compromise, and you have to go into that relationship and do all those things. And to hear that you guys are just line step on all this stuff is
I didn't
amazing.
say all the stuff. I said all the major stuff. So to me, the stuff you mentioned isn't major. Like that's just like where to live, that's major, right? But whether you have whether you put the master on the first level or second level, whatever, that's not major to me. Getting pets, it is major because there's a lot of responsibility there. But when you said it, I was like, yeah, that's true. That's a lot. That's a compromise on my part because I was like, I don't want no dogs. Like, why do I want dogs? That's just a kid to take care of, and I don't have time. But so yeah, that is a compromise, and that is a major one probably because it's continuous, right? It's right. As long as you have them, they're both your responsibilities. Man. So that was a compromise. I guess that is a major one because it does affect your day to day. Like there's all
those things are major compromises.
Yeah, not
because
for me.
When was the last time you went house shopping? Like house shopping, like to go look like with Cole. Like when was the last time y'all went?
Before had a realtor. We purchased our house. 2016.
So that's 6 years. Like house shopping is the worst experiences of my life. I hate.
That's
like
the worst.
If you say, all right, we're gonna buy a house, let's go house shopping together, I will reluctantly go because it's fun for the first 2 days when you start to see houses that you like, and then after that it's terrible because you and your partner can never agree on what's good, what you like, and how. Me and my partner. Mm-hmm. I have never been able. I'd be like, oh, I like this house because of this, and they always come back with, well, I would like this, and I would like that, and it's like so it's always. I think my second house that I ever bought, my wife gave up. She stopped going with me. I was going to the realtor by myself. Flat out gave up. Was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not house shopping anymore because you don't see my vision. And I'm like, yeah, but your vision's stupid.
That's not nice.
I didn't say that. I thought that.
We didn't have that. So I'm thankful we didn't have that. We literally physically saw about 6 houses.
Whew, really?
Yeah. And then we saw this one and we're like, oh, yep.
I've never had that experience.
Yeah.
I've house shopped.
That's why I don't really sweat the small stuff in my relationship for long. Like I will complain and I will be annoyed, but not for long because I'm like, the big stuff, there's just nothing. There's no need to sweat the small stuff because the big stuff just kind of, thankfully, by the grace of God, it's good. So yeah.
That's good. No, you're good. I'll fix that later. It's just doing whatever. There should be like a little knob there to tighten that up.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
it's just flopping around.
I'm just gonna hold it right here. Okay.
It's just flopping around.
All right. Are your values negotiable when you compromise? Now that can be in work. That can be in relationships, but your values.
My values are always negotiable. My morals.
Sir.
My morals are non-negotiable. My values.
So make the distinction for me, please.
They're negotiable. My morals are things that that are instilled in me. My morals are things that I feel are between right and wrong, right? So my morals are, you can't go around, you can't mistreat women. My morals are, you can't go around and you can't rob and steal from people because, you don't know what their situation is and it's wrong, right? Mm-hmm. My morals are things that are set in stone and they don't really move because it's the environment I was raised in, the way I was nurtured, the nature that I grew up in, the things that I've learned over years and how I feel about life in general and how you should treat people, the whole golden rule, everything. Mm-hmm. Those are my morals. My values can be changed and values can be moved depending on how much money you present me with, how beautiful you are. Like, the finer you are, the more you can get away with some shit with me. Like that scale of fuck around and find out is real with me. Like so my values, I have certain values, I have certain standards. Those standards.
Listen, all right. So let's change the question to morals because clearly values is not
values.
It's not
all over the board.
It's not high on your priority list. So let's go with morals.
You can't change the question.
No, because
the question was values.
Because
I just sat there and said that my morals don't move. My morals are pretty much the same, right? You're not gonna pay me to kill somebody. I'm not gonna do that, right? But values, like we talk about values, like your values stay the same. Your values just like they're just da 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 da. Like if I told you I had a gig for you in Vegas, right? And it's gonna be $100,000 a month. And I just need you to work for the next 6 months, and you could be dancing in one of the casinos. Mm. Is that beyond your values?
Yeah, no, it's a no for me.
So if I pay you $1 million a month to dance in the casinos, you can still say no. And I just need you for 6 months. You can wear a mask. You can do whatever you want.
Can I wear a
you can wear a full bodysuit.
A Furby outfit.
No, you can't wear a Furby outfit, but you can wear a skin tight cat suit if you want. If that's what you get down with, but I just need you to dance in a casino.
No, I'm good.
So you're still gonna say no?
Yeah, I'm gonna find another way to get that million.
No. There's no other way. This is
how you know there's no other way. You're not offering me no other way.
No. I'm sitting here telling you that this is what I'm offering you. Like, I just like your silhouette. I like your shape.
Yeah.
I need you to be in the casino. And now, so you won't do it for me, but I can give you 10 for the next 6 months. So that's $60 million over the next 6 months. And then after that, like I said, you can wear masks. I just need somebody with a silhouette like yours and to do that dance. And then you can do it in a cat suit so you're not naked.
You know what this reminds me of?
What's that?
There was this clip of this guy. He walks up to this couple in a grocery store, and he was like, "I'd like to have your wife for the night." And the guy was like, "What?" And he opens the briefcase. He said, "I'm willing to make you a fine offer." And she was like, "What?" And of course she got irate. And he was like, "What?" And he opens the briefcase, and the guy said, he looked at his wife like, she's like, "Are you for real?"
That's different. We're not talking about sexually. Like, sexually is a little different, right? Because you're giving your body up.
I think stripping and dancing.
We're not stripping. We're just dancing on the pole. Nobody's touching you. You got $60 million over the next 6 months. And I'm not working you crazy hours. You come in, you do your 8-hour shift, you go home. I think that particular
ask is what the problem is. Because my morals and values and being that I'm not supposed to try to be enticing to other men, or I'm not supposed to be trying to make them lust after me, is what is like, no, not that particular thing. Now there may be another thing that you offer, and I'm like, I can do that.
This is what I'm offering. So you tell me for no amount of money, will you do that? You can't.
I have to be like, oh, is God going to be like, oh no, you tripping? And I'm like, oh well, no, I can't.
Yeah. So that's a situation where you can't, your value, there's no change in that value. That value sets down at zero. There's nothing, no amount of money that can change that. Yeah. But again, you said, now if you offer me to do something else, I'm willing to do that.
Maybe. That's why I said it depends on the offer.
Depends on what the offer is, right?
Yeah.
So what's something that
somebody might be like, oh, clean this toilet for $100,000 or so. I don't know what.
So you won't clean a toilet for no reason. You won't clean anybody else's toilet for no amount of money.
I will say no amount of money because I might change.
So again, value, that's a value that changes for you. Like for $100, I'm not cleaning nobody's toilet. You give me $200,000 to clean up, twice a week. I may do that, right? So would you do it? Like if I say, hey, I just need somebody to come through the house twice a month and do a scrub of the bathrooms, and I'm paying $200,000 per year. And twice a month, you just got to come through and clean up.
Oh, $200,000 a year?
$200,000 a year. So that's only time. That means you only have to come to my house. What's that?
About
24 times.
24 times.
And you getting paid pretty much almost like $100,000. Well, not $100,000. $10,000 a pop.
20. Oh, I thought you said 24,000. You said 200,000.
200,000.
Yeah.
Would you do it?
Yeah, because I can make other money.
Because you can make other money. You can do other things, right? You just coming through, right?
Yeah.
But that amount of money for that amount of cleaning, right? You talking about 2 or 3 hours worth of cleaning for a couple bathrooms, you bounce.
Yeah, but knowing me, I'd be like, nah, I'm straight.
But why? So this is
because I feel like I can make that someplace else.
You can still work your job and do that and still make money doing something else. You can have a whole nother life, whole nother career, and 2 times a month just go do this and do that. I mean,
I do.
So now, not compromising in that situation, I feel like now you take money off the table for pride alone and for your morals or for your values. So now that's a place where values clouds your judgment and doesn't allow you to make the best profit you can out of life. Yeah,
but see, also we ain't talking about how good or bad, right? Like we talking porta potty, we talking to a millionaire's house. What we talking?
We're not talking about. I'm not talking about like sloppy, nasty stuff. I'm talking about just a regular person's bathroom, and not a nasty person's bathroom. Just something you go to come in, you go clean up real quick, and you go be on your way.
I'm assuming anybody that could pay me $200,000 a year.
It's just scenarios. See what?
No. That's what I'm saying. That's why I say I got to think, because it does make a difference for me.
So what you're doing is overthinking.
That's usually how it goes.
She's just overthinking. Again, and so that overthinking and that set of values that you have, it costs you, and you have to make that decision. So that's what you have to say. But you've already answered the question. Do you feel like in compromise your values can change? They can, because you have questions like, okay, you didn't just give a hard no. You said, let's talk about this. Because depending on what the situation is and how much money you offer me and what I get out of the situation, I may not do it for this, but I may do it for that. So that's a situation where your values change. Yeah. Your values are dictated by what you're willing to do and how much you get out of doing what you do. Yeah. Your morals won't change. So that's a moral conflict you have for stripping. Like morally,
you said no stripping. You said pole.
Well, I'm just saying, but you said stripping. So pole dancing, shaking that monkey, whatever you want to call it. You have a moral conflict there. So that moral conflict won't allow you to do it. So my moral conflict won't allow me to do that. My values. What you got? What we gonna do? Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me. Talk to me.
Negotiable. 24/7.
Negotiable. Let's talk about it.
Hilarious.
Like it depends on what I get out of that situation.
Okay.
So values are something that just kind of in.
All right. Through the experiences you've had, how has compromise contributed to building like better connections with people, whether that be, like I said, colleagues, friends, spouses?
It's terrible. Compromise is terrible when it comes to that, which is why I try my best not to do it ever. Because compromise, it's like the line of acceptability. That's how I always say it, right? And I'm joking. Compromise is good. Compromise is things you should do. I was about to say, how you gonna figure out? You can do that, right? But I like to put compromise in a very, like, you do it for somebody who you love, you care about, and you really want to build a relationship with. Other than that, you start to move your line of acceptability. So if you draw a line in your sand and say, this is my line of acceptability, this is where you cannot step over this line, because you step over this line, or if I move this line back or I move this line forward, it then changes that line. So if I draw this line in the sand and I said, this is my compromise line, I won't compromise past this. Mm-hmm. You step over that line, and then I go, all right, man, I'm willing to compromise. I'm willing to do that. And now I have to draw another line in front of you. And now that line that's behind you no longer matters, because you can step over that line and do whatever you want over that line anytime you want, because I've compromised and I've given you that ground. So now I draw another line, and then you step over that line. And then once you step over that line, guess what? That line is no longer valid. It doesn't mean anything. I have to draw another line. And the more and more you compromise and the more you move that line of acceptability, you allow that person just to walk completely over you. Now, it's different if that line is moving back and forth between the two people. But if you're just the person compromising.
Well, I think that goes back to what we said earlier about a compromise being that. It's not give. It's give and take.
It is give.
It's not just give. Compromise has give and take.
Doesn't always have give and take. Sometimes you're going to compromise more than that other person. Sometimes
more than.
Yeah. Sometimes that line
not
is moving.
Only.
Sometimes you're going to compromise more than. So let's say like this: if we have 100, right, and I give up, if I've only takes 25% of it, right, and you take 75% of it, who has more?
What?
If I take 25% of we got 100%, right? And I'm going to compromise and only take 25%, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to get 75% of what you want. Was that not a compromise?
For who?
For both of us. I took 25. You only took 75 of the 100 that you wanted.
Okay. I think I'm looking at it different. So let's say we found $100 on the ground. It doesn't belong to either of us. And you say instead of splitting it 50-50, I say I want 75, and you say you want 25. Or I say you only get 25.
No, you're going to say I want the whole 100 because I picked it up and I found it. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be like, well, just leave me 25. And you could be like, okay, but I want the 100 because I picked it up off the ground. Mm. That is normally a woman's compromise. A woman's compromise is I want 100. and you're like, hey, just give me 25.
Who are these women you speak of?
All women.
I'm a woman through and through. Let me tell you.
You automatically went to 50%. You picked up $100 off the ground. And you was like, oh, it's $100. You with me? We're gonna split it 50-50.
I ain't even thinking about it like that. I'm just let's go enjoy this $100. We just we just found $100. Let's go spend this $100.
But okay, but then whose pocket does the 100 go into?
Oh, I don't care.
What do you mean? You picked it up. So you picked up the $100, right? You're like, oh, I just found $100, or we just found $100 because you walking with me.
Yeah.
So we about to spend $100. Who's carrying 100?
Either of us. Me, I guess. I can carry it, but we gonna spend it. That's why I say you be trying to make women seem.
I'm not saying women. Man. I'm sorry. I'm not saying women only. I'm saying that most people don't think that way. Most people, the person that picked up $100, what they gonna say?
It's mine.
I found $100, and then the person with them is gonna be like, "Hey, yo, we found $100." And they gonna be like, "What you talking about? We? Like I picked this up off the ground."
I guess.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Culturally Incorrect. Please join us next time.